it was crazy. I kept going live for like a minute or two, and then I go back and listen to it, and then I delete it. And then I did it this morning, and some of the settings changed, and I was like, oh, so I just left it open all day. After that, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna close it because it'll change stuff. So I don't know. Hopefully this will work. Hopefully this is working. So hello and welcome. I just wanted to point out, look at my awesome scarf from Indonesia. This is so cool. It's a batik scarf that I got on Etsy from Indonesia. And it's fabulous. And I paid like 28 bucks for this. I just am blown away by this thing. It is so awesome. So I'm wearing it right now to help inspire me. So today we want to talk about tarot card combinations. That's what seems to drive everybody crazy. Tarot card combinations. So let's get to the presentation. All right, so the presentation. Did I do presentation? No, I'm still on base. Okay. All right, so here we have presentation. Here we go. So this is the free online tarot class. Welcome everybody. Okay, so if anybody's new, there is a link right here. This is the link to the mailing list, so that you get notifications of the classes, you get links to the replay, you get free downloads, you get all that kind of stuff. And so that link is in the description of this live stream. So you can sign up there, or you can always send me an email at dancingtarot@gmail.com if you have questions, or you don't know how to sign up, or whatever the case may be. You can always email me. And then there's also a Facebook group that goes with this class called Free Online Tarot Class. So if you search those words, you should find it, but there's also a link here, which you will get if you join the email list. Okay. So, and then I've done this before, but I just never know who's here. I don't know if people have seen this before or not, but I am a self-taught tarot card reader and divinatory artist. I also do astrology. I mess around a little bit with Lenormand and playing cards. But, anything that's divination is interesting to me, and I play around with it. So I've been reading tarot since my 20s. I do a lot of parties and events. And then, like I said, I'm just a divination geek all the way around. Okay, so the objectives of this class is, and this is my premise here, is that there's all kinds of layers of occultism and mystery and superstition and all this stuff on top of tarot cards and other forms of divination. And I say, if you can learn to make an intuitive connection with the cards, which is what this class is about, then you've got a real good base. You connect with the cards, you understand them, and then if you want to go off and explore some of this other esoteric territory, you're more than welcome, and that will deepen your understanding. But if you start with like the esoteric teachings, you're going to spend 5-10 years before you feel like you can even give a reading. And so I don't think most people want to do that. So I'm here to help you get reading quickly by using your intuition and connecting with the cards. So, I also wanted to mention Mary K. Greer has the 4th edition of this Tarot for Yourself book. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but this is one of the key books I used to learn tarot back in the it was like mid-80s. So Mary K. Greer books, she's had many books, and then like a lot of the books she had got combined into this Tarot for Yourself book. So if you're looking for a book, I would recommend this book. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's talk about card combinations. Okay, so this is the daily spread, which I have brought up before, and I'm going to bring it up again, because I promise if you do this spread, you will become a better reader. And this is probably the most simplest combination spread that you can possibly do. So this is the daily spread. So let me just pause here, and I want to go to the chat and just make sure nobody's saying we can't hear you or anything. Okay, everything looks okay. All right, looks like everything's good. Okay, going back. Okay, so what you do is at the end of the day, At the end of the day, you're gonna sit and think, oh, what was my day like? What happened? What was it like? How did it feel? What went on? And so you go through the deck and you choose one card purposefully. So you look through there and you're like, oh, I feel like it was a Four Pentacles day, or whatever. Or you just look at them and you're like, yeah, today my day felt like that card. Then you shuffle, you put that card down, then you shuffle the rest of the cards and you pull one randomly and you put that next to it. And so that is the tarot describing your day to you. And so then you journal about those two cards, and you that's what helps you build your tarot vocabulary, because you're going to quickly learn in the step one where you're looking and you're trying to choose a card. You're going to quickly see the holes in your knowledge where you're like, oh, well, like my day was really busy. I don't know how to describe that with tarot cards. Or my day felt, super exciting, or whatever, or I got a really cool offer, like how would I say that in tarot? So it'll quickly show you your gaps. And then on the second part, it's like, okay, you have to interpret that, and then you have to put those two cards together and come up with something. So let me switch to the handy dandy card cam. We have a card cam now. That's right. And it's a little dark over here at the card cam, but if you saw my lighting, you would understand. But good enough. And the card cam, when I shuffle, super loud. Just a warning. So this is how you would do the daily spread that I'm talking about. So you go at the end of your day and you go through and you look at, you look through the cards and you go, oh yeah, which card described my day today? Which card described my day? Okay. So you can be like, oh yeah, all right. This like everything went really cool and I got a lot done and I did good stuff at work. And then you go, okay, tarot cards, you tell me about my day. And here's the loud shuffling. I warned you, loud shuffling. You go, okay, tarot, let me know about my day. And so then tarot says, oh, your day was like that. And so then you'll go, okay, like I'm saying, this was a successful day and I got a lot done and I completed what I wanted to complete. And the cards are saying like, yeah, Wheel of Fortune can be a lot of success and good luck, or it could be whatever you have, whatever you come up with, and then you can journal about that. And like I said, if you do that every day, I promise your skills will get better. Okay, so that's that. So let's get back to the presentation. All right, presentation. Oh man, why is it all blurry? Why is it blurry? Now it's blurry. Oh my God, this is making me mad. There's always technical stuff. Let me look at card cam. I didn't realize it was like that. Card cam. See, it was completely fine before. Now what the heck happened? That is so weird. I don't know why it suddenly went blurro. That's Zoom. We don't want that. Oh my gosh. Oh, Julia's saying it wasn't blurry during the demo. That's good. I don't know. I have no idea what to say about that. That's just so weird. Why is it doing this to me? All right, we'll deal with that later. Okay, back to the presentation. Okay, presentation. Okay, all right, so I wanted to talk about that. Okay, and I'm really hot because I have to turn off my fan. I have to turn off my fan when I do this. It's like, oh my God, I'm dying. Okay, all right, so I wanted to talk about. Okay, so card combinations. We've got 78 tarot cards, and I'm over 78 cards total A of 3 cards. I don't know what I meant to write. I don't know what I was trying to say with A of 3 cards, but whatever. But okay, we have 78 tarot cards, and imagine we pull any 3, and the order doesn't matter. How many combinations, how many possible combinations can we get of 78 cards of any three cards, and the order doesn't matter. So we'll see who the math geeks are out there. So math geeks, get to, let me see, and I made a chat thing. Let's see if this actually works. Okay, it looks like the chat thing works. So go ahead and put in the chat, how many combinations you think are possible of 78 cards, and you pull any three. Like, how many combinations of three could you get? Anybody? Anybody have an idea? Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's saying. Can you still hear me? Can you still hear me? Hello? Anybody out there? Are we good? Are we good? Leslie says lots. Okay, Leslie. This is how many there actually are. Let me go. Am I back on? Let me do presentation. Presentation. My mouse is doing weird things. There we go. Okay, Leslie. Okay, so there's 76,076 combinations, total combinations. So I think what happens when we talk about tarot card combinations, people want a list. People want a list like, hey, the King of Cups plus the Two of Swords equals this, right? I can't give that to you. I cannot give that to you. You can't use something like that. You're not a computer. You can't do it. You cannot do it. There's too many. There are too many. So I just wanted to kind of point that out, because like if you were kind of thinking, yeah, I could just get a list. No, it's not going to work. So this is what I'm saying is A plus B does not equal C when we're talking about tarot card combinations. Like, we just can't take the King of Cups and the Two of Swords and say it equals this. And so what we're using when we read tarot cards is symbolic thought. And I've brought this up before, but I'm like, keep bringing it up because I have to keep, we keep needing to be reminded of this. So, this is right side of the brain stuff. This is imaginative play. This is stories. This is pictures. This is symbols. This is language. So if you've ever tried to learn a foreign language, it's not a one-to-one correspondence. Yes, you learn like certain vocabulary words, like book is libro. You learn house is casa. But you cannot just put it together in a one-to-one correspondence and say, sometimes you can, but most of the time you can't. You cannot put it together in a one-to-one correspondence from one language to another, because it just doesn't work, because language is symbolic. So, for example, in Spanish, if you want to say, my name is Cassandra, you say, me llamo Cassandra. And what that's a kind of a literal translation of that is, I call myself Cassandra. So this is what I'm talking about. So when you're looking at cards and card combinations, it's not going to be like an exact thing. It's not, when the cards talk to you, it's not like they pick up the phone and they say, hey, you know what? Next week your boss is going to get in trouble for some stuff they did with some money that they shouldn't have done. And then probably in 3 months, they'll probably move on and get another job. It does not, the cards don't talk like that. They talk in more this symbolic language. So like you see this little boy, he's like thinking about 4 times 3, and then he's got like spaceships and rockets and all, you know what I mean? So it's more, it can be very playful. It is more symbolic. It is more like storytelling. It is a lot like poetry. So I just wanted to say that too. So that, once again, that kind of feeds into the idea that like you're not going to get a list that this plus this equals this, because it doesn't work that way. And I brought this up before too. Like haiku is a form of poetry, and like I said, the cards can speak in a poetic way. And so I just thought this was funny, because this haiku is talking about haikus, and it says haikus are easy, but sometimes they don't make sense. Toaster. So be prepared when you're looking at cards. Like, it's like sometimes they're easy and they kind of go together and they make sense. And sometimes it's like you get one card and it's like toaster. It's like, what, toaster? Where did that come from? So just, I'm going to keep throwing analogies at you, and hopefully something's going to stick and you're going to be like, oh, okay, and you're going to be able to apply that. So like, if you're like, what in God's name are you talking about? Just hang with me, and like, hopefully something I do say will stick with you, because this is the tricky part. Like, people spit out definitions, they spit out spreads, they spit out all these things, but that's not the hard part. The hard part is the artistic interpretation and the symbolic interpretation. So that, and that's not something that you can just go, hey, it's like step 1, step 2, step 3. It's not a process like that. So that's why I'm just going to like throw a bunch of analogies at you, and then hopefully, like I said, something will stick and you can work with it. Okay, then I think I have one more slide about the haikus. So like, this is Mother Goose's rhymes in haiku form. So like, Little Jack Horner says, pulling out a plum, a small boy eating his pie, thinks well of himself. So it's that kind of funny use of language where you're like, it's a little stilted, it's a little weird, it's a little but it makes sense. If you stop for a minute and think about it, you're like, oh, that does make sense. Or Humpty Dumpty, egg falls from a wall, smashed, broken, 1,000 shards, Buddha's fragile vase. Like, that's a cool one. Like, I like that one for Humpty Dumpty. It's like, oh, that's awesome. And then three mice blind running, chased by a female with a knife. This will end in tears. So there you go. Like, if that makes any sense to you, cool. If it doesn't, hang in there. Oh my God. Okay, for a second I thought I was on the wrong screen. I'm on the right one. Okay, so here's another analogy. Don't make the tarot card combinations too hard. Like, you go through this process all the time in your brain about different things, and you don't even think about it. So let's take pizza combinations, okay? So if I talk about different pizza combinations, it's like you already have an idea of what I'm talking about and what the outcome is, or what's that's describing, or what the feeling is. So let me explain. So just imagine you had one card, pretend there was a tarot card that was anchovies. And you had another tarot card that's called mushrooms. And we put anchovies and mushrooms together. Okay, so what does that make? What does that make? For some people, they're like, ooh, that's yummy. I like that. Other people are like, no, I don't like that. Some people, they'll be like, they want to throw up, whatever. But it's like, you already have an idea. Like, if I took anchovies and put them together with mushrooms on a pizza, it would be X. And also, when I'm talking about anchovies and mushrooms on a pizza, like, I'm getting tastes, I'm getting smells, I'm getting like peripheral information about anchovies and mushrooms, from my experience. But it's like, okay, it's like I'm getting information about anchovies and mushrooms. Okay, so let's try another one. So we have pineapple and ham. So imagine there was a tarot card that was pineapple, and we put it together with ham. And we're asking about pizza in our tarot cards spread, okay? So you're like, you immediately already have an idea about pineapple and ham. Like, you can go, oh, that pineapple is kind of sweet. And the ham's a little sweet too. So we kind of put two sweet things together. That might not be so bad. Or, like I said, some people hate that, so they're already like, I don't like that. That's gross. I don't like that. And that brings up the point too, that it's like, you may have certain reactions to a card that nobody else has, and that's fine. That's your reaction to it, and it's like, you can incorporate that into your meaning. Like, every time you see like the 3 of Cups, like, that's bad to you for whatever reason, and that's totally fine. Okay, so let's now do another one, and you're thinking like, I've completely lost my mind, but I've not lost my mind. We're doing another one. Pizza and red wine. Okay, let's think about, we had a tarot card that says pizza. We have another one that says red wine. We put them together, and like, what do we get out of that? What do we get out of that? You know, it's like, okay, like taste wise, that's probably pretty good. Unless you don't like red wine. Some people like white wine. Would they drink white wine with pizza? I don't know. But let's stick with the red wine. So we're like pizza and red wine. Okay, so it's like, well, pizza and red wine, if you went to somebody's house and they served you pizza and red wine, what does it say about the people? What does it say about the people? You know, are they upper class? Are they lower class? Are they sophisticated? Do they have good taste? Do they have bad taste? Do they probably live in a downtown posh apartment? Do they probably live in the suburbs? Do they probably live under a bridge? Okay, you see how I'm kind of extrapolating, because this whole idea of pizza and red wine, it kind of paints an overall scene, like pizza and red wine. You know, maybe I used to go out for pizza and red wine all the time with my boyfriend, and so I'm like, yeah, that pizza and red wine, that's relaxing and enjoyable to me. You know what I mean? Or some people might think pizza and red wine, that's like you're a poser, like you're trying to make yourself seem more than you are. Or I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, if I had a card that said pizza and I had another one that said red wine and I put them together, and it's like, what could I possibly think about that combination? What could I think about it? Wait, there's more. There's more. Pizza and Kool-Aid. Pizza. Where do you find pizza and Kool-Aid? You probably find it at a kid's party, right? It'll be at the kid's party. So, like, what do we think about pizza and Kool-Aid as compared to pizza and red wine? Well, it's a lot more casual, pizza and Kool-Aid. And the pizza is probably from Domino's. Do you see what I'm saying? I just painted it's a different picture. When I think of pizza and Kool-Aid, I think of little kids running around, running by, gulping Kool-Aid, spilling Kool-Aid, you know, gobbling pizza. I think of a lot of pizza crust inside of a pizza box. You see, but this is what you have to do. You have to engage that storytelling part of your brain. You have to, like, tell your storytelling part of your brain, like, hey, that's okay. You can go there. Looks like somebody said something. So Julia says, so card readings from different readers would be different interpretations because of individuality, but somewhat similar. Yes, Julia, I would say so. And it's like, it's one of those things where it all works out in the end. Because, like, if for you the Three of Cups is a bad card and you don't like to see it, then when you're reading for someone and it is not a bad situation, the Three of Cups is not going to come up. This is where we're touching on, like, I don't know, this is like philosophical kind of stuff. Like, and then if I read, like, the Three of Cups might come up, and then it would be a good thing for that person. So it's like, I would pull different cards for somebody than you would pull. And so it's like, yeah, my interpretations are going to be kind of different, and yours are going to be kind of different, but we probably get the same read, or the same feel for the reading. And so, and really, and I've said this before too, like, the only reason we have quote unquote definitions is so that tarot readers can talk to each other. It's like our own, because tarot is like a language. So it's our own secret language, and that's how we talk to each other. You know what I mean? Because really, if, like I said, if you took a tarot deck and you went to Africa and you gave it to some people in Nigeria, I mean, who knows what they would come up with those images. Like, they would, you know, they would do their own totally different thing based on their experience and their perceptions, and, you know, who knows what, and it would be completely different than what we've agreed the definitions are, you know. And it's like, and like I said, you can read grains of rice. You can read, there's so many different ways to do divination that it's just, you can't say there's only one way to do it, or there's one right way, or anything like that. Now, you can say there's a tradition, and do things fit in the tradition, but that's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about here. So, okay, back to this, and I want you to kind of get this, because it's like you can think about pizza and combinations, and you can do it. So why can't you do it with cards? It's not any different. So pizza and pretzels. What do you think about pizza and pretzels? Well, I think that's a little salty, because pizza's kind of salty with the cheese, and it might be if you have any meat on there. Then you put pretzels, and it's like double salt and double bread. See, and I'm thinking, I'm not liking that combination so much myself. I'm thinking, no, that's too much bread, too much salt. But somebody else, like probably maybe my son or somebody who likes a lot of salt, they might think pizzas and pretzels are good. And like when I'm thinking about pizza and pretzels, I'm thinking about a bar. I'm thinking about a bar that has a buffet, or like, not necessarily a buffet, but they have like their happy hour snacks or whatever that they have set out, and they've got pizza and they've got pretzels and they've got little egg roll things and whatever they have. That's what pizza and pretzels means to me. I don't know what pizza and pretzels means to you, but I'm sure something right when I said pizza and pretzels, some impression came to you right there. Pizza and pretzels, like, what was it? What was it? Okay, here's another one. Pizza from a Chinese restaurant. So what is that? That's one of the toasters. Like in that Taiku thing where it's like, okay, pizza from a Chinese restaurant. That doesn't even make sense to me. It's like, okay, they've never had pizza at a Chinese restaurant. What would pizza at a Chinese restaurant be? My first guess is, you know how you get dessert at a Chinese restaurant and it's really not that good? It looks sweet, but it's not sweet. I'm kind of extrapolating and go, okay, like if they made pizza at a Chinese restaurant, it probably wouldn't taste good. It would look good, but it wouldn't taste good. But I don't know. Maybe you think something different about pizza from a Chinese restaurant. Or you could think, okay, maybe it would be like super healthy, like because they just do so much with vegetables and everything, and like maybe it would even have like noodles on it, like little fine noodles. Like I don't know, but I'm just going out there. Then and so overall, we could say pizza from a Chinese restaurant is something new and unknown. Okay, so like if that came up in a reading and you had a pizza card and you had a Chinese restaurant card, you were like, okay, like that combination, that's new and unknown. We don't know. My guess is it would be very different than what we're used to, right? Okay, there's your interpretation right there. Okay, we're going to keep going. Pizza and sushi. Okay, so what's your impression? What do you think of right away when you think of pizza and sushi? Sushi. Is that a good combination? Is that a bad combination? How would that look? Where would you find such a thing, pizza and sushi? Like, if I was going to look for that pizza and sushi somewhere, I don't know. I think I would look for it like in Hong Kong or something. At some restaurant that was trying to be like all super gourmet. Like, you know how gourmet restaurants do all kinds of weird, like over the top things? Like that would be their thing. Like we do pizza and sushi. I don't know. That's where my brain goes. I don't know where your brain goes. And so you just need to know where your brain goes. Pizza at the opera. Okay, so this is another one where it's like, okay, we have one card says pizza, the other card says the opera. They don't really seem to go together very well, right? Initially, like, no, you would not have pizza at the opera because the opera is a very upper class activity and upper class people do not eat pizza, or they don't eat pizza at their events. So like pizza at the opera, like what could that mean? That could mean like something in this situation is not matched up right. It's like the expectation is not pizza, but the reality is pizza. So it's like you may have high class expectations, but you've got a lower class budget. What is it, like beer on a champagne budget or whatever is that saying? Right? It could be that. So that's why I'm saying you got to kind of run it through. You kind of got to run it through the paces and go, okay, it seems this way, it feels this way. And so the implication is, okay, maybe it's like you've got champagne taste and a beer budget. Pizza at the opera. Maybe that's what that is. I don't know. You got to try it out. Pizza at the Super Bowl. Now, on the other hand, we've got a card that says pizza, and we've got a card that says Super Bowl, and that goes together. That makes sense. That, like, I could see that as like a total advertising move, like Domino's or Pizza Hut comes in and they give everybody pizza at the Super Bowl, and everybody's happy, and they got pizza, and there's pizza like coming out everyone's ears. And so maybe this is kind of like almost like an idea of prosperity or a boon or something, because there's so much pizza at the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl's so big to begin with, and such a hypey thing, and then we got all this hypey thing of this pizza there, and everybody's so happy. And I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Gotta take a drink though. Okay, so now we've got a card that says pizza, and we've got a card that says Pizza Hut. No surprises there. Pizza Hut makes pizza. May not be great pizza, but you probably can find a Pizza Hut wherever you're at. So maybe you can get what you need, right? May not be the greatest, but you can get what you need. Pizza from Pizza Hut, right? You're hungry, pizza from Pizza Hut. What can I say? Pizza from New York, okay? Pizza from New York, in my mind, is special pizza, because New Yorkers are known for their fine pizza and for their coal-fired pizza ovens, and all the different, when you say New York pizza, that's a kind of pizza. Like, people that like pizza know what New York pizza is, as compared to Chicago pizza or something like that. So we have a card that says pizza, and we have a card that says New York. We're just like, ooh, so we're getting a cut above here. We're getting something special. We're getting name brand, if you will. You know what I mean? We're getting something good. So those are just some ideas. Those are some ideas. So does that make sense? Is that landing with people? Is that not landing with people? I'm just going to give it a minute and see if anybody says anything. Those are some ideas. So does that make sense? Is that landing with people? Nobody's saying anything. Let me see what my next slide is. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to move on here. All right, so this is kind of what you do when you go into, Julia says helpful. Good. Okay. So this is like what I do if I'm going into a reading, and whether it's 2 cards, 3 cards, 10 cards, whatever it is, as like I said, in the context of combinations. So the first thing you do is you get an overview. Okay, Leslie says she gets it. Good. So the first thing I do is I get an overview, and I scan everything, and I see what's there. So a good way to do this when you scan is to look at the suits, because you figure there's only 22 major Arcana cards out of 78. That means every other card has a suit on it. So if you're really good at suits, then you'll be really good at tarot, because it's the majority of the deck has a suit on it. So when you see wands, they're about activity and excitement and inspiration and a lot of movement and connection. Cups are emotional. They're about feelings, so they can be good feelings, they can be bad feelings, but they're about emotions and feelings. They can be about family. They're about connections too, but they're emotional connections. Swords they can be about arguments. They can be about decisions. They can be about thinking. They can be about writing. Basically, like, swords are kind of like they're going through a process of yes, no, good, bad. Like, okay, I like this, I don't like that. They're going through and classifying things, and so when you have kind of a clash of ideas, that's when you have arguments. And then Pentacles, they're about the real world. They're about tasks. They're about outcomes. They're about skill building. It's like the reality. It's like the reality of things. So if you have like suit combinations, if you just look and you go, oh, I got a lot of wands here and I got a lot of pentacles. Well, wands and pentacles are a little bit at odds, because like the wands want to do, and yes, the pentacles want outcomes, but pentacles, they kind of move a lot slower because it's actually putting things into reality. So you might know, like, hey, you have an idea, like here's your wands or your inspiration, and you have this like idea, and you're like, oh yeah, I have this great idea, and so is going to help me, and it's going to be like this and like that. And then it's a different thing when it comes to actually putting it into practice, and that's the slower part of the process, so it might be a little kind of like go stop energy or hurry up and wait energy or something like that. So it's like you just need to think about what might happen when you put those two suits together. And I wanted to do some examples. I'll switch to card cam. Oh my god, if we can get card cam to work. Card cam's back. That's so weird. Okay, card cam, you're back. You're back. Okay. All right, so let me put chat back up so I can see it. Okay, so does everybody see card cam? Yep. Okay, we are on card cam. Hooray! Okay, so I'm just going to pull cards randomly, and I'm going to be looking for suit combinations. Okay, so I've got wands, and we already got that. So let me. Okay, so here what I have is I have wands plus pentacles, which is the example I was just talking about that. So it's like, yeah, we have the enthusiasms and the quickness of the wands put up against the reality of the pentacles, or the skills needed, or something, or something along those lines with the pentacles. Let me do another combination. All right, so we've got wands again, and we've got a major arcana. I do talk about the major arcana later, so we'll get to that. But I just wanted to do a couple quick examples. There's another pentacle. We already did that. Okay, so we've got a wand and a wand. Okay, so this we have like fire feeds fire, right? So this is. It's like energy and more energy, enthusiasm and more enthusiasm. Like, this is something that's moving quickly. These are ideas coming quickly. These are connections coming quickly. These are like this. It could be supportive people who are like, yeah, that's a good idea. I'll go in on that with you. So that, that's just one. But you might want to like look at it yourself and think about that. Okay, like, if we had a fiery energy of wands and we had more fire, what would that be like? With a lot of fire energy, there could be arguments, because some people just get so enthusiastic and so excited that they end up like fighting about stuff. All right, let's try. We've got cups and we have swords. Okay, so we've got this feeling cup energy, and then we've got the sword energy of like needing to make a decision or needing to separate. So, you can just even tell, even with, I haven't gotten to the part where I'm just talking about what cards look like, but even you can see here from what this looks like, this does not look like a great situation. Because like I said, we've got the feeling energy of the cups, and then it's like we've got this decision energy of the swords. And it looks like we're trying to force some kind of decision here, and it looks like maybe the cup is not ready for that. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so that's my point about suits. Okay, so let me get back to the presentation. Okay. So presentation. Okay. So another way to look at whatever card combination you have is, okay, are there any court cards in there? Okay, so court cards are going to be people you know. It could be yourself. It could be someone who made an impression on you. It could be a part of yourself that you kind of keep hidden, or only it comes out sometimes. Like, some people are like, yeah, I'm really slow to anger, but when I get angry, you don't want to be in the room. Trust me. You know what I mean? So that's some part of yourself that comes out. And a lot of times with the court card kind of stuff, the way you can kind of get a handle on that is like, okay, so who's the queen of whatever? Like, who's the drama queen? who's the king of practical advice? Who's the, and then the pages bring messages, or they're young people, or it's like beginners. It's like beginners. So when you see a page come up, that's a beginner. So if it's you, it's like the page comes up, it's like, hey, you're a beginner. You're not the king yet. You're a beginner right now. And then knights are cards that put a lot of energy into something, and they really push for whatever suit they're using. And then we have major arcana cards are they're big lessons. They're the current theme. They're the key people and key situations. So it's like the major arcana is kind of like, it's like the title of the movie. The title of the movie is I don't know. The title of the movie is Get Shorty. I don't know. That's the first thing I thought of. The title of the movie is Get Shorty. So that's the major arcana cards reminding you that the theme of the movie is Get Shorty. The theme of the movie is not Mission Impossible, right? That's different. Mission Impossible is different than Get Shorty. So when you see those major arcana cards, you need to ask yourself, okay, what's the major theme, or movie title or something, or movie, the movie storyline or whatever. What's at play here? What's playing out? Because that gives you a lot of context to everything else. Because if somebody's going through, I don't know. I'm going to pull cards until I get, the devil. If somebody's going through, if they've got this card showing up in their spread or whatever, this is talking about where the power lies and how they feel powerless, and do they believe they're powerful enough to overcome this situation, or do they feel a victim? Do they feel like they're a victim of this situation? You know what I mean? And so that's very different than, let me pull another major. I'm looking for a major, of course, when you want them. They're not there. Can you believe it? I've gone through all these cards. Okay, here's another one. Okay, so then here we have the Hierophant. Okay, totally different cards, although they both have the number 5. But anyway, someone who's going through a Hierophant lesson is very different than someone who's going through a Devil card lesson. Okay. So you might want to like check that out. Go, okay, what's the major arcana card? What's going on here? And then numbers. I just brought up numbers. Like you glance and it's like, are there a lot of repeating numbers? Are there 3 8s? Are the numbers more toward the beginning or more toward the end? And I don't think numerology wise it's really like it necessarily works that way, that 1 is the beginning and 10 is the end, but it kind of does. So you just might want to kind of like notice, oh, there's a lot of numbers under 5. Like most of them are under 5. There's no further on numbers. So you might conclude that it's like we're kind of earlier in the process. And then you like go, are these numbers easy or hard? And once again, there's a polarity there with the numbers, but it's like 2 is generally an easy number. 8, 9, not so much, compared to a 2. 5s are a lot of change. 4 is stability, so you might want to just kind of like, just get a bead that way and go, okay, that's what I'm seeing straight off the bat. Okay, and then you just relate it back to the question. And so does it confirm, or what you're seeing with the combination, does it, in relation to the question, does it confirm or deny what the question was? Like if somebody's like, well, I get a call back about that job. Like, does it look like yes? Does it look like no? Does it confirm anything? Does it deny anything? Do you need more information? And in what ways does it match up? Like, can you say, well, it matches up this way, but I'm still not exactly 100% sure, or I feel really good, like, yeah, they're going to call back, or whatever. But you just have to relate it back to the question, because don't forget that there is a question, or at least that's the way I read. I always read with questions. I know some people are more oracular and they just lay stuff down and they just start talking, but that's not how I read. So If you read that way, then you don't need to do this step. But if you do read with questions, then you need to go back and ask, okay, so how does this relate to the question? Okay, so then, okay, and then, well, let's do some readings, and then we can come back to this airplane slide if we want to. So now is the time that you type your questions in the chat box, and we can look at those. So, can you see me when I do the chat? I don't know if you can. I do not know. I think you can. Card cam. Let me do card cam. Card cam. And then I'm putting the chat. I can see the chat, but you don't see the chat. So I think we're good. I think we're good. Yes, okay. I'm taking a drink as we catch up here. And as people type questions. Okay, so does anybody have a question that they want to throw up? Let's throw up a question. Well, I guess that makes sense, but it sounds weird. Throw out a question. I'll put down 3 cards, and we'll look at the combinations. And in the meantime, while I'm waiting for people, I'm shuffling over here where it's quieter. While I'm waiting for people to put up their questions, Julia was asking about reading with oracle cards. Mixing oracle cards. Okay, Julia, you got a question. Does it take practice? Yes, it takes practice to get comfortable doing this. It absolutely does. So that's why you should practice. You can, we have the free online tarot group. If you want to say, hey, anybody have a question? I'll read for you. Or if you want to do a reading for yourself and post it and see what other people think. Or if you want to message people in the group and do readings that way, however you want to do it, that's fine. Or you can grab your friend, grab your neighbor, grab your mom, read for them. Do the readings for yourself, like I said at the very beginning. But yes, it does take practice. It takes practice. Because at first you're going to look and you're going to go, what? But I'm going to do some examples, so hopefully it should help. It should help when I do some examples. But no one's having a question. But I'll keep, it's so weird, because usually people pop in this group and are like, I want a reading. Where are those people when you need them? Because I don't mind. I don't mind. Leslie said, is this class 3? I think it's class 3 since I've been back. She said, you didn't get class 1 and 2. I'm thinking, I'm not so good at posting here's the replay, but what I really need to do is send out an email. Are you on the email list? I'll send out an email to everybody, and I'll put links to all the classes since forever. Since I started this in March. And I will warn you, the first 3 are terrible. I had major technical difficulties. Major. So you might want to start after 3. That's of season 1. This is season 2. So get on the email list if you're not on the... You must be, because you're saying you didn't get it. So. Okay, and then Julia, you were asking about using oracle cards with tarot cards. And as I've said before, I do a lot of parties and events. So I do that a lot at parties and events. And what I do is I have the person pull one oracle card at the end, and that kind of punctuates the reading. So I'll just put I'll just do a fake question, or I'll do... I hate doing fake questions because it's it could be anything. It's just, I don't know. I'll try to think of one for myself. Julia says, yes, please send all the links. Leslie says, what time does it start on a Sunday? So we've been doing every other Sunday at 5 my time, which is Central. But I know I've had some, there was supposed to be at the very end of August was the last one. But then I had to take my son to college, so now I'm doing it now. So the next one will be the 15th. And then after that, the next one is the 29th. I will be in Colorado, so it won't be that day. I might do it when I'm in Colorado if I'm set up, but it wouldn't be Sunday. It would be sometime during the week before. So it's like that's my fault that I cannot keep a consistent schedule. That's my fault. And then sometimes like I won't even email people until like the day of or the day before. Once again, my fault. But if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll get the notice when I go live. Everything's under the free online tarot classes, playlist. Everything's there. You know, you can always join the Facebook group and hit me up there. So I apologize for not being like super highly organized as far as like the scheduling and notifying people on the replays. That it's just I haven't been doing so great. I'll try to improve with that, and I'll try to I just don't think about it. I'm like, well, I should email people and just tell them these things, but sometimes I don't do it. Okay, so Leslie has, how can I get unstuck from my present situation? Okay, good question. All right, so I'm going to pull 3 cards. All right, so how can I get unstuck? There's that Wheel of Fortune card from my present situation. Okay, so, all right, so we look at it, and, okay, I'm noticing that there is one major Arcana card right here in the middle, which is the Wheel of Fortune. So this is telling me that this situation is not, this is kind of a major life thing, or major life lesson, or a major theme. It's not just like, oh, I just wish I could eat candy today, or something kind of frivolous. It's not something kind of frivolous. So with the Wheel of Fortune, one of the things that comes up with the Wheel of Fortune is what goes up must come down, right? So you could be anywhere on this wheel. You might be on the going up side, you might be in the going down side. And this also has to deal with timing, obviously, because now that I've said that, it's like, sometimes your timing is good and it's right and you're on the upswing, and sometimes you're swinging up on the downswing and your timing's off. You know what I mean? So like it's like at a point where you should be laying low, you're trying to like do stuff, and then at a point where you should be trying to do stuff, you're laying low. I think you get my point here. Okay, so the question is, how can I get unstuck? Okay, so we've got wands. We'll look at the suits. We've got wands. We've got swords. So we've got enthusiasm. We've got excitement. We've got even with just looking at the card, that's what I wanted to say, is like you can just look at the cards and make something up, because that's part of it, is the storytelling. And that's one of the easiest ways to deal with tarot cards is you look at it and you go, what's happening in the card? You go, oh look, there's people, they're waving, they're happy, they're having a good time, looks like they're having a party, And then we have this Wheel of Fortune card, which looks a little, it looks good, but it looks a little suspect here, because like I'm not sure about this creature. I'm not sure if this Sphinx is good, but some of these other things are good. Like there's an angel and there's an eagle, and they're cool. These guys are cool, but I'm not, so like this could be good or bad. And then we have like this queen, and this queen is looking out of the scene. She's looking out. She's looking away from this whole thing. Okay, so like I said, the swords have to do with mental activity and with like making decisions and separating good from the bad and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, so this person's like looking, they're looking outside of all of this, and they're like, oh, like, where can I go with this? What can I keep? What do I need? What's important to me? What do I need to ask for? They're like doing all these things. And so queens are kind of keepers of the suit energy. So this queen is like, she's keeper of the decisions. She's keeper of like thinking about things or whatever, however you want to like think about it there. So it's like Sheila's like, it's kind of like she's like reserving the right to think what she wants to, and to decide how she wants to, you know, if you will. So you're asking how can you get unstuck from this situation? So I'm getting to the point where it's like, okay, so I've looked this over, and I didn't really talk about the elements that much. So we've got wands plus swords. So we've got fire plus air. So air feeds fire, right? Because if you have a fire and you blow on it, it makes it bigger. Okay, so we have the potential for this fire thing to really to grow and become big. Now you kind of have to answer, like, is that a good thing or not? If you're asking the question, how can I get unstuck, then yes, maybe you should get a bigger fire going. Like, you need to get a bigger fire burning in your belly, you know, to get unstuck. And I would think that that would depend on this Queen of Swords making a decision here, and you know, and so it might involve, like, having to tell somebody something, like what your decision is, or what you're thinking, or what you're thinking is important, or something along those lines. And I would say with this Wheel of Fortune, the timing is important. The timing on it is important. I feel like it's going to work out well, because we have this nice Four of Wands next to the Wheel of Fortune. But I feel like everything's hinging on this Queen here. So it's like, you know, can you step into your power here as the Queen and the Guardian of what you think? You know, what do you think? And can you tell somebody else what you think? I don't know. So that's what I'm getting from that. And then I was going to do an oracle card thing. So when you, like I said, I've done a lot of events and parties and stuff. So what I do is I'll just throw one in at the end. So let me shuffle these. I've got, what do I have? I have Colette Baron Reed's The Enchanted Map Oracle cards. So these are good because it kind of shows you where you're at. But I always have to read, you know, but that's fine. That's fine. And then I also have the Power Animal Oracle cards from Stephen Farmer. And what's good about those is that they have stuff written on them. They have stuff written on them. So I'm just going to pull an oracle card from each of them and put it down. So hang on while I shuffle the oracle cards. And it looks like Card Cam's hanging in there. Card Cam is hanging in there. And then Leslie says, says, that's okay, I can go with the flow, it is going down. The Queen would be me, I am always thinking. Okay, so always thinking. So I think that the thing with the Queen there is, it's like, okay, there's thinking and there's deciding, and those are two different things. So do you want to be thinking about things, or do you want to be deciding about things? Do you want to be, because the swords have to do with, like, your judging faculty, like you're judging, like you're judging things. You're going, that is a good situation, or that would not be ideal, or, you know, whatever. And it's more of a black and white kind of, like, I have made a judgment on that. And and some people are very good at that. Some people are not so good at that. So, but I think the Queen needs to get pulled into the situation. But let's see what the Enchanted Map says. Enchanted Map says solitude. Solitude. Okay. So right away, that's making me think about this Queen card. And if you look how this shape. Look at this shape. 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 Like, you can look at things like that and you're like, okay, like, this is somehow pulling this all together. Let me read this, what it says. Solitude 13. Hang on here. Okay, it says, I am comfortable in my own skin as I detach to replenish my soul. Meditation is required when you receive the solitude card as a sign. Empty your mind or of superfluous thoughts and allow stillness to flow through your whole being. This is not an advantageous time to ask questions or push forward in any way. Rather, it's a period for conscious retreat. What's called for now is to step back and take focus off of your life and your troubles. You'll be surprised how things sort themselves out once you've replenished your energy by means of a much needed rest and time out. So there you go. So it's emphasizing some things in the reading by saying that it's like it's kind of it's a neutral time. It's not an up and down, but it's more of a neutral. Where does it say? Emphasizing some things in the reading. This is not an advantageous time to ask questions or push forward in any way. So there you go. So yes. So thinking. Yes, you need to retreat and go inward, and then it's kind of like it's making this Wheel of Fortune more of a neutral thing. Okay, so let's pull one of the Animal Oracle cards. We'll pull one of those. And normally I would just only pull one, but just because I have both, we're doing both. Okay, so question. This is your question, how to get unstuck for the Animal Oracle cards. And we get Snake. It says, healing, you are a healer. So there you go. So I think it's saying, physician, heal thyself. Heal thyself. So there you go. So that's how I would combine Oracle cards in there. And that's how I would do a reading. So is there any other questions? Leslie said a bunch of stuff. Okay. I have trouble making decisions. Stop the thinking and meditate every day. Yes. That was the advice. So there you go. I hope that was helpful. So anybody else have a question? Like I said, where are all the people that pop in and want readings when you need them? They're not here. Okay. Let me think. I should have a question. What question do I have? Okay, I'll say, tell me about my trip to Colorado, which is coming up pretty quick here. Loud shuffling, warning, loud shuffling. Okay, tell me about my trip to Colorado. Tell me about my trip to Colorado in like 3 weeks here. Just tell me something about my trip to Colorado. It could be anything. All right, so trip to Colorado. Please let it be good. I don't want to see anything bad. Okay, so I got kind of a similar setup where I got a major Arcana card in the middle with the Justice card. We have the Page of Wands and we have the Knight of Wands. So, like I said, at first glance, we look at it, we go, okay, there's a major Arcana card, and then we've got two Wands cards, which means like a lot of excitement, enthusiasm. We've got the Knight, so like the Knight is really going after something here. He's really going after this quest for, excitement and enthusiasm and connections with other people and camaraderie and all that kind of stuff. And then we've got the Page over here, and so the Page is like a beginner. The Page is a beginner, and I'll just comment myself. I want to do more traveling, and I really don't go too many places very much. So this is kind of like, this trip is like kind of a kickoff for me of like my new self of traveling more and going more places. So I feel like that Page of Wands is kind of appropriate there, because it's like kind of like that beginning. And then it's like he and the Knight, they're looking right at each other, and the Justice guy's looking straight ahead. So it's like there's connection and excitement here between the Knight and the Page. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go somewhere. This is exciting. We're gonna do something. It's like, it's exciting. And then we have the Justice card, and so the theme with the Justice card is like, what is just and what is right. And a lot of times with the Justice card, like I ask people, like, what would you do if you knew you weren't going to be judged by other people or even yourself? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of like, what is it that you're kind of hiding here, and you don't want to bring out into the open, because you're afraid you're gonna be judged for it. So that's that's a little bit about what that trip will be. It'll be like excitement and like a lot of connections with people, and then it'll be like me kind of asking myself, like, yeah, like, what would I do? Kind of like with this open slate here, like what would I do if I could do anything and not feel like I was going to be judged? And then I will pull one of the oracle cards. I'm going to do the enchanted map. Enchanted map. Let's see what comes up with the enchanted map. Okay, enchanted map. What do I get? What do I get? I get dry desert. How did I know that? I just felt like that was going to come up. Because look, we got desert, we got more desert, desert. Let's see what the little book says about the desert situation. 31. 31. We got more desert. Let's see what the little book says about the desert. 31. Okay. Dig deep for inspiration and truth. Now is the time to become resilient and adaptable. Is your life presenting you with opportunities that seem to yield nothing? Have your ideas dried up? Does it feel like you are on an endless journey through a dry, hot, lifeless desert? This card reminds you that there are times when you're meant to become resilient as you journey through harsher circumstances. You're being required to conserve your energy until, after consistent effort, you reach the oasis you're researching for. Consider the creatures that live in these conditions. They have adapted to thrive in spite of the outer environment. In a desert, water essential for life can be found deep underground. Go deep within yourself now. Find the truth there. Let spirit sustain you while you locate the real source. Whatever it is you're asking about will not be found in the conditions you're in until you move past the surface of things and choose to do the real work and discover the answers deep within you. This may not seem like a most productive times, but looks are deceiving. This is the most important place to find what's truly right for you. So there you go. There you have it. So I think it's emphasizing kind of like present circumstances, and then this question with the justice of like what would you do if you weren't going to be judged. And so that's how the page and the knight are going to make it through the desert. So there you have it. So, Andres is here. Hi, Andres. Okay, so it's after 6. So I guess we can wrap it up if there are no further questions. Leslie said, thank you for that. I could follow the reading. So I hope it was helpful, because like I said, this is the trickiest part, is putting the cards together, because it's not a one-to-one correspondence. So, and then you have to like, you got to find different ways that you can get into these cards and let them speak to you, and they're gonna speak to you in a symbolic and poetic way. They're not gonna go, like I said, they're not gonna go, hey, your cousin Bob is gonna call next week and he's gonna say he needs to borrow your car. I mean, it's like it doesn't happen quite like that. So, but on weird occasions, they're really literal, and you're like, oh my God, that was literally the thing. So, Julia says, wonderful, thank you. Okay, all right, so that'll do it for now. Like I said, the next one will be the 15th. The one after that, not sure.